What's going on, guys? My name is Brad, aka iPod Memorizer 11, and the World War II beta is finally upon us. We've been waiting for this for so long since Infinite Warfare was trash, so we've just been waiting for news about the new Boots on the Ground game, and it's finally here. Although I'm an Xbox pleb, so I only managed to play it this weekend, and I haven't really been posting it. I was just busy playing the beta, trying to adjust to Boots on the Ground, as well as trying to absorb as much information of the game as I could, try out all the new weapons, all the kill streaks, and the divisions, and I'll cover that all in whatever commentaries I'll do. I know in the future I'm going to be doing a feedback on the beta, which is basically all of the stuff I would like to see changed for the full game in November. But for right now, this commentary is going to only be my first impressions on the game, and the gameplay you're seeing on the screen, it is my very first game, and I haven't played Boots on the Ground since probably Black Ops 2. I've been sticking with Black Ops 3 for last 2 years now, aside from the occasional like Ghosts or Black Ops 2 games. So I'm a little rusty on how I should be playing because the hyper aggression in Black Ops 3 it should not be translated over to here. This game rewards a more conservative playstyle, I'd say. At least the four maps that were introduced so far. There's a lot more head glitches, and you probably want to be pushing up as a unit or not going headfirst into their spawn, thinking you're Rambo and getting four pieces. This game just doesn't work like that, and I'm okay with that. It kind of goes against everything that's I've done since I first started Call of Duty. I was always like a rusher and just not really caring about my KD. I was just trying to see how many kills I could get, and by just continuously running into their spawn and just brute forcing my way through everything by myself. And yeah, that doesn't really carry over in this game, at least on the four maps that we've seen. So, uh, I mean, it's okay. I've been trying to adjust accordingly, and I have some decent gameplays. Definitely better than this one. This gameplay is not really all that special, but I just wanted to showcase my very first game, maybe to show off some tendencies or anything like that. So I at the very least go positive. So enjoy it. Anyways, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the commentary. I've been rambling on long enough, but first point I want to talk about is the weapons. The SMGs are definitely like top tier, no contest on that one. All of the SMGs are pretty much viable. The Type 100, pretty solid gun, grease gun, although it's kind of overshadowed by like the PPSH and the Thompson. They're very solid guns. The WAF, it's basically like the Scorpion. And I feel like with the grip, it's very good at what it does, and also it goes a little above and beyond, I'd say. Was mapping people with the WAF and also the Thompson, which probably shouldn't be happening for such high rate of fire, high recoil weapons, but I'm hoping that these weapons get a nerf in the future. And same with the STG, which is, even though it's an assault rifle, it's kind of like the same level as the SMGs, I'd say, because it has like no recoil and high fire rates, and that seems to be the meta, at least for the beta right now. So I'm hoping these get a nerf in the future, just because all the other weapon classes kind of suck. I didn't really use the LMGs much, but they're probably the worst iteration of or class iteration of LMGs I've seen, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I kind of want to see a buff come through on the LMGs just to make them a little more useful. I was just not impressed whatsoever on the LMGs that we saw in the beta. Shotgun's kind of the same deal, although they're a little more viable since I don't know, they kill stuff, and also they have the close range aspect, which a lot of these maps are. They're all like close range and maneuvering around tight corners and stuff like that. So I think the shotguns are a little better than the LMGs of what they do. And the assault rifles, it's kind of hard to mess up assault rifles. They're all fairly decent. The SCG, again, being on SMG god tier level. So the M1 carbine, I'd say, is my favorite so far. I didn't really get to use the Garand very much. I used it for one game and got view kicked to death, and I just put it down after that. And the other assault rifle, it's basically like an FG42. I think is very good, but it has pretty high recoil to kind of negate it, and it's not really getting any benefits from grip, or it's getting some benefits from grip, but it's not like no recoil immediately but it's still a pretty good gun, I'd say. So that's my thoughts on the weapons. Next is divisions. I don't really understand why they did divisions instead of like a pick 10 or at least a normal create a class. I understand they wanted to be original, just go above and beyond, but at the same time, just kind of stick with basics. I don't really understand the logic of changing stuff that didn't really need fixing. But for right now, I'm gonna hold off like my entire judgments on the whole divisions thing, just because a lot of the complaints they like flak jacket or and tac mask or dead silence not being in basic trainings. Maybe those will be in the full products, and we just didn't see it in whatever they gave us in the beta. And I don't really know if they're gonna have more soldiers. This is basically like their version of specialists, so I don't really know if they're going to introduce more soldiers. The the divisions that we've seen so far, they seem to cater towards one class, and I don't really expect them to have a specialist or a division that caters towards pistols, which would be the only other class that doesn't have one. So I think these are the only ones that we'll see so far. But again, I'm just going to reserve my judgment on that. I'm going to wait for the full game. Right now, I don't really have a problem with them, so that's okay with me. Lastly, the maps. I think they're okay, except for Aiken. That's probably one of the worst maps I've ever played, and I've been playing since Modern Warfare 2, and we've had maps like Derail and Wasteland on there. So to say Aiken is one of the worst maps I played is pretty low. I know Michael Condrey said on Twitter that he would be open to structural changes, but again, I don't really want to get my hopes up too much just because I haven't seen a developer go and change a map just because people said that it sucked, and also because November is pretty much right around the corner. So I don't really expect them to make it too major. So it's probably just going to be another subpar map in the rotation when the full game comes out, which is okay. I'll just back out of the lobby if I ever get it. As for the other three maps, Point du Hoc is a pretty good map. It's like very small, very shotgun oriented. I have a lot of fun playing with shotguns on that map. Ardennes, I expect it to be a competitive map in the future. I think this is the best out of the four maps so far. I just like the symmetry, and it's a pretty good size for 6v6 game modes, and I just enjoy it. Gibraltar, there's a lot more head glitches than I would appreciate, but at the very least, there's a lot of different ways that you can kill a camper off of head glitches, so I don't really have a problem with that, although the spawns are definitely a problem, and I was hoping that they will address them in the future, just because especially on Gibraltar, it's definitely noticeable on there. The spawns just never flip. I can play a whole TDM game and I will never break out of my spawn just because it takes quite a lot of effort to flip it. You basically have to have your entire team run to the very back and then they'll finally flip over. And even then, it's not guaranteed. So anyways, guys, that's going to be my first impressions. In the future, I'm hoping to do like feedback on the beta, and I have a few other gameplays that I don't really know what to do with, so we'll just have to see. Anyways, I've overstayed my time, and that's going to be it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like for more, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.